Are you a student who's having doubts about moving forward? College Funding Advisor Virtual Assistant shares his importance on scholarships to young minds all over the world. Want to know his take? Continue watching to find out more in this episode of Sphere Rocket Podcast Network. Hey, it's me, your host, Julia, and welcome to another episode of Sphere Rocket Podcast Network. How are you guys doing today? I just had a cup of joe, a cup of coffee at least. I'm very excited and very hyped up for our guest for this episode. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who's tuned in to our podcast for today. And yeah, can't wait. Today we've got an awesome virtual assistant as our guest, and I can't wait to know his story right now as a virtual assistant. And yeah, let's give a warm welcome to the one and only Rolly. Hi, Rolly. How are you doing today?
Hey, Julia. Well, thanks for inviting me over. I really appreciate it. You flatter me, though.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. How are you doing today?
Everything's all peachy. It's just a wonderful evening right now, and I'm just glad that there's no noise going on the highway. So I think we're doing great.
Perfect. What are the odds? This is a great timing. Actually, I can't really wait. And how did you feel when you got invited for our podcast?
Shocked. I was just invited earlier this morning, and I was like, really? Sure. Let me join in.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And thank you so much for being so responsive. You know, not everybody gets to respond right like that in just a snap. And you're here with us right now is just awesome. We're just so blessed to have you.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm absolutely honored that I was picked today. And I'm also really thankful for Sphere Rocket for helping me out with everything that they've done. Shout out to Felsi, by the way.
Ooh, nice. Sure, you can give all the shout outs you want. This is the platform for that. So, yeah, first of all, we want to hear you hoot your own horn. Please do introduce yourself. What is your background? Where are you from? You know, what were you doing before you became a virtual assistant? You know, all that jazz.
Oh man, this is probably going to take a while.
Sure, you've got all the time in the world. I got you.
Awesome. Well, my name is Rolly. You guys probably have met me. I've gone through several interviews already, but yeah, let's just say that my forte is rather a mixed bag. So I've been here and there. Some of you I probably have met in Manila before, but I actually live in Tarlac myself. And I've been a virtual assistant for about 2 years now. And I've been mostly in the real estate business, but recently I've been hired into the college funding business. And it's something that is very new, but I'm absolutely floored and excited to actually get started with that and learn a lot more. But prior to that, though, I've honestly been in the call center business, believe it or not, for about 8 years, almost 10 to be honest, but I skipped a couple. So 8 years it is. And I've been in all sorts of hats. I've had, I guess you could say, technical support, customer support, anything under the hat, sales, you name it. I wasn't always the best in them, but you can bet your bottom dollar that I was there to help out in any way I can.
Awesome. I'm quite curious about what you mentioned earlier about the position of college funding. What is that? It's kind of new to me.
Oh man, I can tell you this much: it's really new to some people too. Here in the Philippines, we actually have scholarships, right? So the thing about scholarships is we usually just have maybe 1 or 2 scholarships under our belt. But apparently in the West, especially in the US, they're now looking into getting multiple scholarships just to get through, just to make sure that they beat that student debt. And it's a bit of a doozy sometimes because well, let's face it, it's really hard to make it into a scholarship here in the Philippines,
Mm,
much more in
true.
the US where it's absolutely competitive.
Yeah.
So it's really something of a big deal that we get to help out with students and parents trying to look for the best scholarships that they can actually get, and that's what college funding is about. It's not really about us providing money to them, but
Mhm.
rather helping them find the money through scholarships and giving them tips and tricks on how to beat the debt.
Awesome. That's quite interesting. How did you become interested with that kind of field, and why college funding?
Well, to be honest with you, the college funding life chose me.
Oh, really? How did that happen?
So I was trying to get hired at Sphere Rocket. It
Hmm.
all started with just me trying to get an application, and
Hmm.
uh, I'll have to be very honest here. I went hopping around with different clients trying to find the best fit. Some of them were good, some of them weren't, and I ended up meeting this guy named Andrew. He's a really good guy. He's very religious and very meticulous with his business, and I love him to bits. He's awesome, and we got to talk, and he picked me right off the bat. I was the first one that he talked with, and he said, "Yeah, I'm picking you." So that's how I
Hmm.
landed there. But I didn't even know what his job description exactly was. It was a bit vague.
Hmm.
So when he told me that, oh, it's going to be college funding, hey, boop, it's something new. It's a new adventure. So I said yes practically immediately when he asked me, and that was that. I was going to be a college funding advisor, and I was going to be helping out with his business moving forward.
Awesome, awesome. That's so great. Very interesting story there, really. I also curious if how did you feel about getting to know something new to you, like a new concept, just like what you mentioned earlier. You're not quite familiar with that kind of work job description. How did you feel about it? Was there a time where you were hesitant or you had doubts about it? If this really the job for me? You know, all of that.
Well, to be honest with you, I've been a person of adventure all of my career, which is probably why in the call center industry, I just kept looking for something different. If they were asking for technical support, I was there, and then later on, when I decided to move to new pastures and to greener pastures, even,
Hmm.
although I have to admit it's not always green out there, but hey, you got to go where you
Exactly.
got to go.
True
But
that.
if I see something different, something a little more unique, or something that I've never
Hmm.
experienced before, I usually just go headlong with it and
Uh-huh.
just give it a try. But to be honest with you, it's not for the faint of heart. It's actually really terrifying when you get started with something you don't know because, well, we have an innate fear of the unknown.
Hmm.
And it's something that not everybody would like to be in. It's not a
Yeah.
position that's for everybody. But for me, I take joy in finding something different and learning and growing. And I think that's something of a strength of mine where I just want to keep growing in any way I can and help out with as many tools that as I can find.
I love that. I love that about you. You know, you're so adventurous and you're very motivated with these new things. You know, I totally agree to you when you mentioned that a lot are not comfortable with meeting new concepts, meeting new adventures, all of that. They want to stay to the routine that they're used to. You know, they're afraid to go out of the box, and they're afraid of the unknown and all of that. And that's great. You're hyped up with those certain challenges, you know, the unknown, it hypes you up. I totally agree to that. And I can relate to that as well. And I don't want to bet on something, but are you a fire sign?
Wait, a what now?
A fire sign. Okay, if that's totally random, I'm just gonna move on to the next question. Because sometimes, your personality, you're quite hyped up with that. And I am as well with new things. You're quite adventurous. And yeah, I'm quite curious on, you're a certain sign or your personality as well. If are
Well,
you
to
a
be honest,
water, a fire,
oh,
or you
right.
don't
Yeah,
know that
that
stuff?
those personality types. The
Yes.
funny thing is, I ended up with water when I tried one of those personality tests for
Oh,
some reason.
all right.
And
That means you're going with the
for,
flow.
yeah, I go with the flow easily, very
Exactly.
easily. I'm very fluid, except for my gender. But yes, I'm very fluid.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Awesome. And yeah, now that you're in the job, with being in that certain job position that you're in right now, what do you do? What's your job position? What's your job description? What are your daily tasks?
Well, to be honest with you, the job position is kind of out there. It's a little vague. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be like a college funding advisor. So I'm going to be dealing with kids. I'm going to be talking with them about what kind of scholarships that they can do. Although it's mostly for just introductions, since we do have our counselors in the team. The
Yeah.
counselors will take care of the rest of the stuff, especially the more complicated things. But I will be briefing both the student and the parents about well, the basics of college college application and scholarships. So we tell them this and that. It's not really too clear cut, and sometimes they also ask certain questions about, hey, what scholarships are out there and how can we apply? So we also look into those. But at the same time, some of our day to day tasks are we have to look for what do you call this scholarships that are currently available, when their deadlines are. In fact, there's already, I think, two or three of us already in the team. Also, another shout out to Kayla. She's been great. She actually showed me the ropes because she was there first, and I was playing second fiddle to her. But she's been wonderful. She's been mentoring me a lot, and funny enough, she and I are both in the same town. So
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, it's one of those rare moments where you find out that your workmate is in the same town, although we haven't had coffee yet. But hey, the possibility is there. Um, and then another thing that we do is we look for scholarships. We try to look for them for the best fitting ones for each student, because apparently every student has their own passions. I mean, we're all people. We're all living, breathing human beings, and not everything fits in the same box. So there may be some things that they might be looking for, like perhaps they have some sort of learning disability that they'd like to get a scholarship for, or perhaps they're of a certain ethnicity that they can qualify for a certain scholarship for. We look for those little details and try to give suggestions to them based on their criteria.
Awesome. That's cool. I'm also quite curious about those different scholarships that you have with you. Which one is the most interesting one for you, in your opinion? Or which one do you prioritize most or focus on?
Golly, that's a difficult one. To be honest with you, it's really hard to say. If I had to pick one, that would be ones where the students would be creating their own projects. There are some scholarships like in MIT or perhaps in what was this other one? I guess Harvard. There's another one that they also ask about, where they ask the student to make something unique, like a unique project or a proposal or some sort, anything depending on the field that they're in, whether it's science, the science of biology or mathematics or mechanical sciences. There are different fields, and each of them are very interesting, and it's really unique to find something something that these kids would do. because a lot of these kids are very smart. It's just that they
Yeah.
don't have the opportunities. And
Yeah.
us helping out with granting them opportunities also gives us a window of what these kids are like. And a lot of them are really bright. And it gives me hope for the future, to be honest.
That's nice. Very well said. Thank you so much. That's actually true. You know, a lot of children, they don't have much opportunities or platforms to show their true potential
Mhm.
because there are others that are unprivileged. There are others that have struggles with, you know, schools that are not fit with them or with their parents or other relationship issues with other people in the societies. And that's also great. I kind of salute to that because I am also, I can relate to that as well as being a scholar with, but
Mhm.
not in a scholar in an academe type because I'm not that bright, just like those who are in that kind of scholarships. But I am part of a musical scholarship. I don't know if
Oh.
there is also one of that in your books, but
Oh yes, they exist. Musical scholarships are there. Music, writing. Some kids also do novel writing
ooh,
or short
nice.
stories. It's a mixed bag out there, and
Hmm.
the amount of scholarships that people can win out there is just vast. It can even get a little silly sometimes. Like uh, who can make the best memes was one of the most unique ones that I've ever heard. There was
That's nice.
this,
That's wise.
yeah, there was this one scholarship that asks the students to make memes for them, and the best meme wins $1,000 reward.
Ooh, I
It,
would join that meme
it's
competition.
oh, I would have done so in a heartbeat had I been a student. So it's definitely a no
Right.
brainer.
Exactly. That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, everything is laid out for them with in a way that they can really have fun with also what they're doing, not just competing it, of course, for a certain goal like the scholarship or getting this kind of award, but they get to have fun and you guys create certain platforms for that for a lot of people to get opportunities to grab that kind of award or scholarship. So that's awesome.
Mhm.
And of course, I know you're very well skilled with your work experience years beforehand, but I want to ask on during this job position that you have now, are there certain skills that you've developed along the way being a virtual assistant?
Mhm.
And if yes, what do you think are these skills?
Well, to be honest, I've I've developed quite a knack for time management. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely something that you'll learn when it comes to being a virtual assistant. Uh, Once you've started as a virtual assistant and working on your own, you really need to learn how to adhere to your schedules, and that's something that no amount of experience would ever tell you. Despite working in a corporate setting, uh, you just can't learn that. There's too much of this fear of being late or being uh, being reprimanded. But when you're a VA, more often than not, you wouldn't really get reprimanded for being late, but rather you're going to end up burning yourself in the butt if you
That's true.
just don't adhere to your time slot. And that's not going to be good for business for you, not exactly for your client, because your client can find additional hands to help. But if you can't help yourself, then yeah, you're going to have a bad time. um,
Yeah.
I guess another skill that I have also learned is being more personable with my clients. Uh, in the corporate world, you tend to stick with your scripts and try to fake it till you make it in the business, in the job. But if you're working for a client one on one, you really have to be genuine with who you are,
That's
because
true.
they will sniff that out. They will know whether you're unauthentic or not, and that's something that you really get to pick up. It's not something that you learn, but it's something that you experience, and it's something that you get to instill in yourself. And I think uh, that's a very important piece of experience that I learned as a virtual assistant to this day.
Perfectly said, Rolly. I totally agree to that. Being authentic is not everybody gets to do that in the work field because, yeah, they just need to stay on script, stay on whatever the book says, and fake it till you make it. But
Yeah.
with being authentic, it helps you, of course, develop certain skills and discover a lot of things, not just towards yourself, but of course towards the people around you. And you get to
Hmm.
be in that realm of reality that, hey, there is more to this than being in the books, right? Going the
Yeah, that's
extra
right.
mile helps you, of course, improve your work, and not just, of course, in work, but of course your life in general. So that's awesome. Totally agree to that. Perfectly said. And with this job that you have right now, I also want to ask on how do you think Sphere Rocket impacted your life right now, and how did Sphere Rocket help you find your current role right now?
Well, this is going to be a bit of a fun part here. Uh, Sphere Rocket really helped me out big here. If I may be very honest with my words here, uh, I have been trying to get an application for, I guess, 3 months before I landed this job. Uh, in fact, there I also had a job the month prior before landing this job with Sphere Rocket as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it's unfortunate that the client just decided not to press on and wanted to take his business somewhere else. But that's a segue for another time.
Yeah.
Uh, the thing with the Sphere Rocket, though, is everybody has been a great help trying to land me clients and trying to guide me with uh, who the best fit are. It, Felsi was really the one who kept holding my hand there for a very long while. She really was very hands on with picking out the clients for me. In fact, there are times where I would just be sleeping in the middle of the night, and she'd give me a call because there's a client who
Mm-hmm.
potentially fits me. So
Oh.
I'd get up in the middle of the night and just put on a collared shirt and just try to make it to the interview. In fact, that's how I landed this particular job. It was just out of the blue. She was like, "Oh, we have somebody here. You might want to take this now." Yeah, sure. Then let me go ahead and get dressed. So I hopped onto my studio and just went with the interview, and there I was, face to face with Andrew, who just said, "Okay, yeah, you're a great fit. Let's get you in." But even before, with some of the interviews that just didn't work out with me, they were still there. The whole team really supported me with every step of the way, and they just kept giving me update upon update, and they made sure to be very attentive to what I needed,
Mm-hmm.
and they also made sure that they also gave me updates on whether I passed or failed. Of course, nobody wants to hear that they failed, but it's something that you really have to know. And they
Yeah,
made it a point to let us know because nobody wants to wait for nothing, and nobody
that's
wants to
true.
waste their time like that. So I find it a very important asset that the people of Sphere Rocket would notify me of what's going on and if I should look forward to this or not, and if things are working out. And yeah, it's been great. I really appreciate the team. They've been very hands on with everything, and I think that's a very big asset and something that uh, anybody who wants to be a VA would really appreciate.
Awesome. Totally agree to that. Yeah, they're very hands on, just like what you mentioned. I want to highlight that phrase because that also is what Sphere Rockets sets apart from other VA companies. And they're very, they shape you, they hone you, they guide you every step of the way, even though how baby step it could go. As long as you're moving forward, they're there with you and they guide you with that. And Here you are with these very awesome people from Sphere Rocket. They guide you and help you with that to where you are right now. And yeah, that's just awesome. It's destiny. You know when it's destiny because it's just smoothly happening to you. You just don't realize it, like in a snap, that oh, I'm here enjoying my life, enjoying my work, now loving what I'm doing right now, and that's because of what has happened with the help of Sphere Rocket. So yeah, I totally agree to that. And it's no accident you're in that job because is it is what it is, right? You're going with the flow, like what you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier. So yeah, here you are right now, and also with the job position that you're in, of course, being a virtual assistant. What do you think has been the most memorable part in your job? It could be a bad or good memory, or it could be a core memory. Any highlight at all?
Well, I don't know how to qualify this, but I guess the most memorable part of my job was everybody being there to help me out.
Aw.
I will never forget the days and nights that they would message me, they would email me, and then text me just to make sure I was there waiting for the interview. It's it's always an experience when you see people, you know, pardon my French, but when you see people giving a damn, it's always a huge plus, and it really puts your mind at ease knowing that there are these people who are working hard, making sure that people get hired, that people are finding where they're supposed to go. Yeah, sure, sometimes it's not always the success story that we're looking for, but sometimes it's just beyond that. It's not about uh, whether the client that you have now is successful or not. Sometimes they're just stepping stones out there, but it really helps that there's this little gravel path that shows you where to go on the next stepping stone. And I think Sphere Rocket is a great gravel path to go for with every step of the way.
Love that. Love that, Rolly. Thank you so much. I totally agree to that. They do have that warm support, and it's awesome that you got to feel that warm support from them. And yeah, everybody is just very happy to, with the help of Sphere Rocket, with their hand holding you every step of the way. It's such a very helpful thing and such a great impact to you guys. And knowing that
Mhm.
it's there, the care is there. Not everybody gets to experience that certain care. Most especially to those who are still starting, for those who are still trying their best as well. Um, and yeah, it's awesome. With the years that you have as being virtual assistant, what do you think has been the best purchase or the best achievement you made so far?
Best purchase. I think I'd like to answer both of those. So,
Sure, go ahead.
the best achievement that I've had so far is the wealth of knowledge that I've accrued being a virtual assistant. That is something that I find the most valuable. No amount of purchases in any equipment will ever replace that from me. That is the most valuable achievement that I will ever get. But if I really have to pick out a purchase, I mean, hey, uh, Sphere Rocket actually helped me afford this 32-inch monitor that I have right now. So I'll
Ooh,
take that
that's
as a
cool.
plus.
That is a big plus.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't mean to toot too much of my horn here, but I also used to stream on Twitch, and unfortunately, I'm a little out of commission at the moment because of some equipment failures. But um, because of Sphere Rocket, I've been able to at least upgrade some of my equipment. And when I get back in the game, then at least I have some better equipment to look forward to. Plus, another big plus on this is the equipment that I managed to buy also benefits me so much in keeping myself efficient with my work because yeah, yeah, it's a 32-inch monitor, sure, but if you're just going to be using your monitor for Facebook and all that, it's not really going to be working out for you. uh,
That's true.
Yeah, so what I can do is I can subdivide the screen and help me become more efficient with my tools, and it really helps. Sometimes a bigger real estate is just it's just that it's a bigger real estate. You have more space to put your tools and to make things a little better for you, and gives you better visibility on what your day to day is supposed to be. So yeah, it's really the best investment that I got from Sphere Rocket right there.
Great. That's just very great. And you had an awesome answer, very wise answer, if I may say, and a wise choice of purchase. So yeah, totally great. I'm also quite curious on you've been so fluent with English as compared. I mean, not to offend anyone or whatever, but you've been very fluent with how you speak. Has there been any chance that you've been out in U.S. or something like that, or are you of a different race somehow? Because you really speak really nice. Or have you been also a voiceover? I could hear your voice right in televisions right now.
I've never been on a voiceover, although I would love the opportunity. Voice acting really is something that I'd like to try. Unfortunately, I've never had the opportunity. But yeah, let's see here. Let's answer those questions one by one. Um,
It's okay. It's a random question, so yeah, you can
yeah,
either
yeah,
answer them or not.
I appreciate them. Well,
Yeah.
I I have been outside of the country a few times, but
Uh
not
huh.
significantly long enough for me to stay, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Uh, I have been in the U.S. At least at least one time that I can remember, um,
Awesome. Awesome.
and I have been to several other countries as well. Hong Kong being one of them, given that it's free visa. So I'll take it. Anything that's free. um, but yeah, in terms of race, I am a mixed bag. It's not in my features, but I do have some Chinese blood in me, and I also
Whoa.
do have some Spanish, but I am also Filipino. So,
Uh huh.
yeah, I don't know if we were going to be notified as Ascals, then I'm probably going to be called a Phil Spachai or something.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. That's great to know. That's actually great trivia from you. And yeah, I'm so sorry I got to ask that because I'm just really, really curious about it. Even my assistant's asking me right now that, oh my gosh, this is so awesome because you're so fluent in what, of course, in English. So it's just,
I
uh,
get that a
I
lot.
mean, yeah, yeah, it's
There's a
like,
story behind it, though.
ooh,
There's
sure,
a real
please
story
do.
behind it. The thing with my fluency in English is that uh, it's very unorthodox. It actually started with gaming, and that's why
Oh.
gaming is a core component of my skill set. I used to play online games, and
Hmm.
unfortunately, at the time there weren't a lot of online players around me.
Hmm.
Where I am in Tarlac is pretty remote. I don't exactly have too many neighbors. In fact, I barely have any neighbors even now. So it's very remote, and the only people that I get to play with are people from other countries.
Hmm.
And I tend to be a bit of a night owl myself because I prefer playing at night where I don't have chores, like I
Hmm.
don't have to do stuff. So, who are the people who are playing in the middle of the night? Well, I get to play mostly with Americans. So,
Ooh.
I get to practice. I get to speak English on a nearly daily basis at the time, and this was in high school. So I just kept going, and it just keeps happening. Another thing that really helps me learn my English a bit more was because of my dad. When he was still alive, he would teach me and hone my skill quite a bit, quite a fair bit. So it helps, but sometimes it's more than just studying and trying to learn the grammar, although it really helps. Learning grammar is very important for people,
Yeah.
but it's not just about knowing the technicalities of it. Sometimes you also have to get immersed in the environment. So if anyone's listening who wants to learn better English, yeah, watching movies is great, but sometimes having a partner who you can speak English with on a daily basis is a bigger, uh, I guess, a bigger opportunity for you so that you can get to sharpen your skills, hone it, and you get to learn the deeper nuances of everything.
Yeah, totally agree to that. That was awesome. Very unique story or background as to how you got that accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Influence or your peers really is a very big factor or impact when it comes to development towards maturity. Just like what you
Yeah,
mentioned, high
absolutely.
school, starting off with gaming and being very communicative with these people that are not, of course, with you in present, and yeah, knowing that they're from US and all of that. So yeah,
Mhm.
it kind of grew on you, and that's how you are speaking right now, and that's awesome, very unique characteristic, I might say, and also, I'm also curious since you grew on that language. Are you also do you are you fluent with Tagalog as well?
Yes, I am. I could actually cite a number of examples if the show would allow me.
Sure. All right. That's totally fine. We've got the video editor waiting as well with that.
I mean, pwede rin naman ako mag-Tagalog, na diretso naman siguro yung
Oh my
Tagalog ko,
gosh.
pero okay lang
I
naman.
can never
But,
tell.
yeah,
No one
minsan
would
talaga hindi
ever
mo
know.
wala talaga makakaalam unless you try to listen in and then you just
Yeah.
start learning about the language
Yeah.
and then
You just got
it
that
just
shift
happens.
right there. I did not expect that. Yeah,
It's a
that
little party
shift.
trick.
That's a trick, all right. That's a gift. And yeah. So we're down to our last question. And afterwards, we're gonna have a short commercial break. But please, really, please do stay tuned right after this one because we got a surprise for you for our last
Ooh,
segment right after
I
the
like
commercial
surprises.
break. Yeah, can't wait. For your last question, if you are to give one piece of advice to some aspiring virtual assistants that are watching right now, what would it be?
I have quite a number of pieces of advice that I've picked up over the years. Like a lot of people would say, don't give up or keep on going or don't be afraid to try. But the biggest piece of advice that has gotten me this far would always be pray for it. Uh, I know not a lot of people are very religious, and it's probably something that's very weird. But trust me when I say there are actually two sides of this coin. So if you are religious, yeah, praying for it, it's something that helps you uh, focus your energy on what God can give you, and he really listens. But of course, on the flip side, if you're not really religious, well, sometimes prayer is a really calming thing. It's something that you can do to help yourself raise your
Comprehend, yeah.
focus on what your objectives are. Because there's something profound about speaking about speaking what your objectives are. Like if you verbalize it and say it out loud, it helps your mind understand what you want to do and whether you want to go for this or not. And I don't want to scare people, but sometimes virtual assistance is not for everybody. But if you really want to try, if that is something that you really, really want to go for, uh, sometimes praying about it and meditating on it and letting yourself accept what you want to do or what you feel like you have to do is the best piece of advice that anybody can give. It's something that
Yeah.
comes innate in you. And when you learn what, or rather, when you hear that prayer of yours and you've put your thought into it, most of the time you'll know what you want to do, and from there you can just do every other step that you think is right.
Awesome. Perfectly said, Rolly. I totally agree to that. I actually have a comment on that because there are other people that are, yeah, less religious than others or not religious at all. But speaking about meditating or praying, psychologically speaking, when you self-talk, like what you mentioned, like verbalize it, there's that certain energy that it could actually happen when you pray about it, because when you pray, right,
Absolutely.
you talk to yourself, you verbalize it. I mean, in a psychological sense, of course, that you talk to yourself and you self-talk about it, and then a certain positive energy then comes in, and then you have a certain motivation to do these certain goals because you're setting the goals, you're telling these goals, you're telling it to yourself, you're programming yourself that, hey, this is my mindset, this is what I want, and I hope it happens. And then when you believe in it, it all starts in the mind. It all starts in the mind. So you start
That's
thinking
right.
about it, and then you act upon it, and then these patterns of going into as planned does happen. And yeah, that's totally awesome. And of course, spiritually speaking or religiously speaking, prayer does actually help. I totally agree in both on what you've mentioned. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Philosophy wise, I think, therefore I am.
exactly. That's from Plato or Socrates? If I'm not really
If I
good with
remember
that.
correctly, that would have been Socrates, I think.
Socrates. Perfect. I almost got it. 50%.
Well, you got the answer right there. It was on the nose.
All right, on the nose. All right. Thank you so much, Shirley. I had fun with that. And of course, we'll be right back right after this very short break. So please do stay tuned. Ever dreamed of swapping your hectic office for a comfy home workspace? At Sphere Rocket VA, we make that dream a reality. Say goodbye to rush hours and hello to remote work. Enjoy more time with family, more time for yourself, all while building your career. Interested? Apply now at www.spherejobs.ph. All right, and we are back with our podcast episode with our awesome guest, Rolly. Hi again, Rolly.
Hey,
All right,
nice to see
awesome.
you
So
again.
we're nice to see you again. So yeah, we had a fun talk earlier, but now we are down to our last segment for this episode, and this is what we call the lightning round. So basically, this is just like fast talk. I'm just gonna pitch in some few questions, and then you just let me know on the first thing that pops into your mind. Are you G?
Yeah, gee, totally.
All right, let's do it. First question: day off or bonus pay?
Ooh, bonus pay. There's no such thing
Awesome.
as day off.
Favorite social media platform?
Instagram,
All right. What is your go-to midnight snack?
chips, I suppose.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, 100%.
Perfect. Dream country to visit?
Switzerland,
What's your most expensive purchase?
my entire PC, which cost me an arm and a leg.
Oh, nice. I mean, not in a bad way. One word, lastly, one word to describe Sphere Rocket.
Awesome. Hands down.
Awesome. Awesome. Lovely. Thank you so much, Rolly, for your time. I hope you had a blast because I did. And thank you so much for your time once again. Such an honor to have you at our podcast. Once again, this has been Julia officially signing off and wishing everybody to enjoy the rest of their day. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you, Rolly. Bye.
Thanks.
Do you want to apply as a Sphere Rocket virtual assistant? Well, look no further because this video is for you. I will be telling you which requirements you will need to submit in order to apply to our new website, plus a few tips and tricks to help you with your initial interview. We have achieved a better way for you to send in your application, so let's begin. Step 1. Visit our website at www.spherejobs.ph. Step 2. Fill in the application by inputting your full name, email, number, and other questions that you will need to answer in order to move on to the next step. Step number 3, send screenshots of your updated CV, Tony Robbins PDF result, internet speed screenshot with a minimum of 10 Mbps, a scanned copy of your government ID, and your portfolio with sample works. Step 4, click the submit button and wait patiently for our email. Now here are some tips on how to stand out during your initial interview. Tip number 1, dress up as if you were going to an in-person interview. Wearing something formal will give the interviewer a sign that you are serious about applying to this job role. Tip number 2, find a quiet space where your interview will be held. There's nothing worse than getting distracted by the noise around you and not being able to understand what the interviewer is saying. Tip number 3, be yourself and show up as confidently as you can. Know what you bring to the table and honor your worth. Interested in becoming a part of our team? Submit your application now at www.spherejobs.ph. Good luck!